What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to The Gifted and Insane. It's the guys, Marzette and Jabri. How's it going, Jabri?
Super, feeling super duper. I'm excited to get to the topic, and this is my favorite day of the week to get these things off my chest, brother. So let's go.
All right, let's get to it. This episode is called The Other Shoe. So, as always, listen, enjoy, and let us know what you think at the end. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to The Gifted and Insane. We are glad to have you back here, and I'd like to send a thank you out to those who are listening now on YouTube. And we're getting subscribers and we're getting likes, and that's pretty cool. We're just going and growing. So I really appreciate that. How you doing, Jib?
Very well, brother. I'm happy to be here. Always happy to get the show back cooking. Always look forward to being able to express myself through this venue.
Good. It's a good platform, I think, for us to give, us to grow, and for anybody that we're helping to receive. We're getting a lot of good feedback, and even if it's not through emails, through texts, through phone calls, and direct contact, and that's really cool. And I'm kind of ecstatic over the positive feedback and the information we're getting from people about how we're impacting them in our own way with our words and with our sharing our experiences and stuff. So that's pretty cool. So I understand that you have a very special listener out there that you would like to shout out right now, a certain young man that you happen to be related to. You want to get into that?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. That would be my nephew, Elijah Berry, out in Marina, California. He's listened for the first time and actually sat through the show. So he has that avenue now for him to be able to speak to his uncle and one of his uncle's main compadres from back in the day who feel like we've overcome some things that he may have to face in his life. So I'm happy that we have this outlet for him and other young men. He's going on 12 years old now. So that's very inspirational to find out that he had listened to the show.
Yeah, and that's a pivotal age. That is an important age because we start going through our changes at 12, 13, 14 years old, mentally and physically. We're trying to understand what's going on with our bodies. We're trying to understand what's going on in our minds, and our chemical makeup is a little bit different now. We're noticing little things on certain other people, and I'll leave it at that, not to be embarrassing. Yeah, getting that peach fuzz, getting that little hair on a lip.
All that good stuff.
Yeah.
He already kind of getting a little baby Barry White voice coming in, so it's starting.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. Shout out to the youth out there. Hey, we're going to get into this episode. This one is called The Other Shoe. The other shoe, like from the term waiting for the other shoe to drop. And a lot of us live our lives like that. A lot of us have some elements of that in there. And what that actually means is just you're anticipating or waiting for something else to happen or something to happen. And it's usually a negative thing. And according to janetphilbin.com, it is related to anticipatory anxiety. I just learned that the other day, that I didn't even realize that anxiety would be connected to this phrase that we normally act out when we're waiting for something else to happen. It's the anticipation of something. So, and it's what they posted was, it's like it became known as the anticipating for something that you knew was coming. And this has now become synonymous with anxiety, specifically anticipatory anxiety, a new thing. According to Psychology Today, about 85% of things that people worry about never happen. And that's on janetphilbin.com. They are not paying me for that. That is just a resource for you guys. janetphilbin.com. So that is, again, that's not a paid endorsement. I always pull things off the internet that I feel is going to help you guys out, just as a tool, as something that you can use as a resource. So I know, Jib, that you and I have run into many people including ourselves, that have been caught up in waiting for the other shoe to drop. And that's almost like socially accepted in certain areas, that, you waiting for the other shoe to drop, meaning you're waiting for some BS to go down. You waiting for something crazy to happen. And by doing that, a lot of times we dismiss the good stuff that just happened right in front of our face in anticipation for the shit we think that's going to go down. You're like, okay, this happened, then something else is going to happen. Will it really happen? And we get involved like heart and soul. Like, that's why that anticipatory anxiety kind of makes sense, because you're anticipating what's going to happen. And if you run these things through your mind, we know we have a tendency to magnify stuff and develop feelings about it, even if it hadn't happened yet. And I'm pretty sure you've ran into a few people like that, and it maybe even have happened to you. You've waited for the other shoe to drop yourself. I know I have. I'm guilty.
Yeah, I'm the main shoe waiter to drop that I have ever come across. Nobody who, I mean, I feel like I have a PhD in that. Being the person, you know how people throw those shoes up and they tie up on the power wire.
Yeah,
Power
yeah.
line. I'm just sitting there looking at it. I'm just sitting there looking at it all day, waiting on it. They never come down though.
Yep, it got you frozen and stuck.
Exactly. And that to me, that's a form of PTSD. I'm not like a licensed psychiatrist or any kind of therapist or anything like that, but I know enough to know that when you've been through a lot of trauma in your life, you're expecting the next thing bad to happen all the time. And I think that's one of the things that has kind of stagnated me and kind of helped me to self-sabotage myself in the past.
Yeah. I think that gets so ingrained in a person's, their operating system, if you will, that their actions are based on that. What they do is based on the anticipation of bullshit to happen, versus just living their lives and taking things as they come and keeping it moving. Then think about it. Think about, like, we have to make decisions every day, whether they're large or small. We have to make decisions every day. Can you imagine just approaching, like, I always see a person, I picture him in my mind. I mean, I picture a person in my mind waiting for the other shoe to drop as a person that has this little downward turn scowl on their face, looking like the Georgetown Hoyas bulldog and shit. And we got their and they got their arms folded, and they're just standing there looking, and they're waiting. And then if something does happen, they're like, I knew it. And if it don't happen, they're just like, well, wait and see. They still, even if the other shoe does not actually drop, but they still wait for it. So they're consumed by this dropping of the other shoe. And it's not guaranteed to happen. It's not. But it seems like people that operate like that, to me, wish that it drops, so they can just be proven right for once or whatever. I don't know what that satisfies with them. I don't know what part of their brain that just gets all kinds of just giddy over the, something bad going on. But it's just like, you remember that old show on NBC, 227, and it had Regina King on it. And you remember that old lady that used to be in the window, Pearl?
Right.
Pearl represented a lot of people, by the way. Like, right. Always, like, not on the stoop, but in the window next to the stoop. Always looking out on the street and watching what somebody's doing.
Negative and a negative Nancy. That's a great example.
Freaking Pearl, dude. And I'm shocked talking about the other shoe dropping. I'm shocked nobody threw a shoe at Pearl. Well, she up there. Hater. She's sitting up there in the window. Yo, what y'all doing down there? You know exactly what they're doing, because you want to sit up here and talk crap about what they're doing. And you waiting for somebody to fall off the curb because the kids out there on skateboards or chasing each other or on roller skates or something like that. And she like up in the window waiting for something to happen. I mean, Pearl wasn't negative all the time, but it's just, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have that person that just couldn't stay out of their own window.
And I think you make a good point as far as waiting on the other shoe to drop being something that people are so used to living in a negative environment in their mind that's what they're comfortable with. and that's something that's going to keep people from moving forward because they're so comfortable in a state of trauma and drama that when they get ready to try to move forward and do some positive things, those positive things are probably new experiences to them because they've never really gotten outside of that box of drama. So they're always trying to get back into that comfort zone.
Yeah, and they don't want to. Some of them don't want to because they don't like the uncomfortable feeling of the unfamiliar. And I mean, I've been like that in certain instances, but sometimes a lot of that shit, I don't want to maintain it. I don't. But these other people, the people that are the habitual, what do you call it, shoe drop waiters or whatever they call it, the people that are anticipate bad shit so much to where those are the people that, you know, you said original haters, they hate because they want to be in the same area, they want to feel the same way, they have the same expectations, and they're comfortable there, and they don't want anybody else to feel comfortable. They don't want themselves to be seen as different, because sometimes that's all they have to hold on to. If you think about it, a lot of people feel so small to where if they lose the little thing that they have about themselves, which is quote unquote hating, waiting for the other shoe to drop in each and every situation, then they feel lost. And
Right.
they can create this culture, this atmosphere that we get caught up in too. And it's passed on. It's like that, was it generational trauma that you pass on, you know, parents pass on to kids, then kids have kids, and it just keeps rolling on. And we got to find a way and start with ourselves to break it. We got to start with ourselves to break it. Because I find myself in my mind talking shit about stuff, about things, and it's not even necessary. It's not even worth it. It killed my inner child because my inner child is always looking for something bright and all this other stuff. But then when I start getting into that mode of just sitting back and waiting for something to happen because of my experiences, you know, it just killed off all the bright stuff because you always have this nice outlook and today is going to be a great day. But we also got to understand that, because I know there's times like we were talking about, okay, there's not a utopia and all this other stuff. I get that. But it ain't got to be shitty all the time either, you know?
Right.
And we got to teach that some of the things that are perceived as like super bad or jacked up is a part of life. That give and take, push and pull, yin and yang. Because some people teach everything's not jacked up. Everything's not jacked up. Some people teach this. Well, you may as well not be happy because this is going to go down and blah, 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 blah. Really? Really? I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and lie to a kid and say, hey, you're never going to get hurt in life. I'm not going to lie to them, but I'm not going to sit up there and mentally and emotionally chain them. And why even try?
You might as well not be happy.
Exactly.
That's the worst.
You may as well shut that shit down right now up here. You know, just this up here just shooting down, because it's just like the good kids like that are in the hood, and they ain't necessarily bad because they're in the hood. They just got a bad, you know, they just got these haters that's around them, you know, and that crabs in a barrel stuff come in with that too.
Yeah.
Just pulling these kids back down, and you'd be like, this kid don't stand a chance.
And if you want to get esoteric about it, and you know, it comes to when people talk about the secret and stuff like that, like on a metaphysical level, what karma, your karmic footprint of what you put out. And if you're always sitting here creating this avatar of just negativity, you're always going to end up getting what you put out.
Right.
So, you know, being able to try to manage that and control that, that's the key. That's something that I've struggled with, because life is always going to happen. Like you said, there's always going to be something negative in life. Sitting there waiting for it is not going to make it not ever happen. You know what I mean? It's definitely, it might bring it faster, but when it does happen, it's just a matter of being able to, you know, ride that wave.
Withstand
A good seller. Yeah, a good seller is not just going to, you know, go under just because he's expecting there to be like different currents in the ocean. So, That
Right.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, that was,
The in the ocean of life, you're gonna get your tidal waves, you're gonna get your storms and stuff like that. But then there are calm seas. There are days when the wind is just blowing just enough for it to be nice. Life is a mixture of events, and a lot of it does come down to perception. Some things are bad. Some things are really bad. Car crashes, and you get robbed or you lose somebody. Some things are really, really bad, but not everything is really, really bad. And you shouldn't waste the time that you can experience good stuff waiting for the really, really bad stuff to roll through. And that's our
right.
point about this whole, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Expect to win or expect to learn. If you don't win and you have a loss, you can expect to learn something from it so you can come out stronger on the other side, which still equals a win. Because sometimes
Yeah.
it's not the timing. It's not the right time for you to make this thing happen that you want to happen. You got to go through a couple more things or experience a few more things that's going to allow you to learn and build up and be stronger. So the next time you face this stuff, you're kicking it in the butt.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. Experience new things. Get out there and try something different just to see what else might be good. Because sometimes people are so used to being in a negative atmosphere that they don't even know what else there is. So that waiting on the other shoe to drop is a kind of a bit, it's kind of a fear, just because they're afraid to actually get out there and experience something else. And then once you get out there and experience a few things and fail, you see that failure is really not that bad. I think, I forgot, I think it was Isaac Einstein,
Albert.
or I think it was Albert Einstein. It was actually Edison when he was creating the light bulb. And someone asked him how many, you failed. This is not an exact quote, but they said you failed 2,000 times on creating the light bulb. And he said, I didn't fail 3,000 times. He said, I just learned 3,000 ways that you can't make a light bulb. So he
Right.
actually got out there and experienced that. If he had not done that and just sat there and was afraid, you never know. It's not, and I've experienced that. Like things that you think are really so awful and are things that you think are so challenging. Like my youngest daughter being born, for example. I thought that was going to be something that I wouldn't be able to face. But when you're actually put in that situation, and I said, hey, I need to go in there. She was having a few complications or whatever. And I said, I need to go in there and be there. And when I got in there, you know, the universe, the creator, whatever it is you want to call that spirit that comes into you that gives you something that you didn't know you had. You're never going to know what that is unless you actually accept the challenge. But if you're too busy sitting there waiting and afraid of being hurt because you never rode a bike, so now you don't know how hard you don't know that hey, a little scrape on the knee, that's about all that could happen. You just get up and the scab's not that bad. It'll wear off. But if you're always afraid to even try to ride, you're just always going to be stagnated. And it's just sad that so many people come from environments or they grew up with so much trauma that they're afraid to even step out and try something different.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking from personal experience to a major degree. And I'm these are just some of the things that I've experienced to try to help me get out of that kind of thinking.
Yeah. And we reinforce that stuff ourselves, and many times. Sometimes it's environment, sometimes it's other people telling us these things, but sometimes we're guilty of reinforcing these things, these fears, and these doubts. And we live in a faith-free life. We don't step out there, and we don't count on ourselves, rely on ourselves, or more importantly, believe in ourselves to get this stuff done. You want to talk about guilty as charged? Look at this guy here. I'm pointing at myself because I constantly have come into contact with people that have seen things in me that I could not see in myself. It's because I was living in that fog. In the fog, I always say you could be standing on the beach, but once your head's in the fog, you don't know that you're in a very nice place. You got some nice things going on, but your head is in the fog. And when
Right.
messages come from outside of the fog into your ears, you should be able to, it should help you clear that up, basically. Sometimes it's like instant for some people. Sometimes the fog just starts to dissipate a little bit, clear up just a little bit, and you're able to kind of to start seeing that. And that's when your bravado should kick in. You should start being a little more brave and get out there. It's okay to be whatever age you are. It's okay to be whatever gender you are. It's okay to be whatever size you are, because the stuff that you cooked up in your brain thinking that you're going to, oh, I'm going to fail because I failed here and I did this and I did that. Okay, if you do fail, why didn't you learn the lesson from the last ones? Not the lesson of, I should never try again. That's not the lesson we're pushing here. The lesson should be, okay, I tried it. Good job. That didn't work, but there are so many different things I could do to go and attack this problem, to go ahead and step forward for this goal, to go ahead and speak to this person or do what I need to do. But if something goes wrong and you sit back with your arms folded with the upside down scowl on your face, staring at stuff with your eyes popped wide open, looking for something wrong to happen, you more than likely, no matter how much time will pass, you will find that something wrong will happen. It'll happen.
Right, and then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because when something doesn't wrong, something that you're expecting to happen does not happen, but the whole reason it didn't happen is because you didn't try. Now you're sitting there beating yourself up because you didn't try. So now the whole your mind is ruminating, and you're being negative about beating yourself up because you didn't actually make an effort. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And even if you do get out there, like you said, something has to trigger you having the fog cleared out, but sometimes that something might just be you busting your head open and then the fog leaking out of the hole in your head, because
These guys
unfortunately
just turned violent. Oh my
that's
God.
how some people
Oh
that's
my
how
God.
sometimes people have to learn. Sometimes people have to learn the hard way. And I'm kind of speaking for myself too, because that's sometimes you have to go through something so traumatic that you're like, okay, hold on. This is time for me to start, really looking at the way I was handling my life. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't have to come to that. And that's why we're here, because, we've experienced so many of these things on a drastic level that I'd like to be able to help people kind of like gradually walk into, some acceptance and some self-realizations, and not have to deal with something so traumatic that you might not live through it. Let's
Right.
let's just be real. There's certain things you can go through in life that can change your life forever, and or you might not even make it out of. And these one bad decision that you make just because you're waiting on the other shoe to drop, and you're so afraid to do this that you go do the wrong thing, and that might not even be the path that the creator has for you, but you're not seeing things clearly because you're acting out of fear.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten sense. The universe sent me so many signs. I mean, I can't even cover it right now. I mean, I know there's a couple of jobs I wasn't supposed to have, but it was all that was based on not even the other shoe dropping, just like that resistance and resisting. Well, I guess the waiting for the other shoe to drop is a form of resistance as well, because you won't do anything because you think something else bad is going to happen. And you're too fearful to make a move, and then you're frozen. You're just pouring cement around your own feet.
Right.
You pretty much gluing yourself there. I mean, I remember this one job. Probably wasn't supposed to be there, but I'm notorious. I was notorious. I'm not going to claim that shit now. I was notorious for staying places too long,
Hmm.
in places that I shouldn't be, where I could grow. But then it's like, okay, I could go do this. This opportunity presented itself to me, but no, it's too good to be true. When sometimes things are in alignment, and when you feel it's in alignment and you resist anyway, that's terrible. That's
Yeah,
horrible. And so
self-sabotage.
you're gonna get the opposite. And I remember one time I fell off the dock, bust my head open. You talking about busting heads open? I bust my head at this warehouse job I was working. Who would have thought? And
Wow, literally. I was just using that as an
no,
example. I didn't mean
man, I struck my head
to.
on like this little
I'm sorry, brother. I didn't mean to.
no, I mean, what
I didn't mean to
I'm gonna
trigger your
start
bad
crying.
memories.
Yeah, I feel so attacked right now. You used my story, start crying and no, man. No, I stepped off the dock and there was this little, I was carrying this little, there was this portable staircase with just two stairs on it so you could reach high in the warehouse or whatever. And I had that in my hand and I stepped off the dock, fell, and then that thing hit the thing and I hit that and I got concussed. I had a concussion and I probably should have gone to the hospital. But you know, workplaces, they send you to urgent cares that they're contracted with. And I actually needed an ambulance. And, you know, I didn't, I went to there and ended up getting some stitches. And then I had another job, construction job that I probably wasn't supposed to be at because all of this anticipating things going wrong and just going with the easy stuff and going with what's right there versus with what's right there is not always what's right. And
Right.
that job was right there. I mean, I had hooked up with somebody that was right there, and it was like all of it just was like turned into like a cauldron of BS for me, and I stayed there with it, stirring the pot. So that was my fault. But yeah, got hit in the face again with this metal. It was like a metal pipe with a base on it, 4x4 metal plate base on it, and it struck me in my dome. It looked like I had a coin slot on my
Damn.
forehead. Yep, got more stitches, got concussed again, and it's like, you know, I'm pretty sure the spirit, universe, God, whatever, got their spiritual arms folded with a with a scowl on his face.
Right.
Well, like
Yeah, because
how many times I gotta hit this fool in the head for this fool to learn, you
literally,
know? For this
like
fool to,
literally.
yeah, literally, dude. So for me to, you know, learn my lesson, learn my worth, and all this other stuff, and here years and years and years later, I learned it, you know, and I'm learning. I'm still learning, and I learned it. Learning never stops. Growing never stops, unless learning never stops until the casket drops, homie. But yeah, yeah. So you get your
Exactly. And you're never gonna know, like sometimes you're out there in the world and God is not going to give you the path that you want might not be the path that you think you're supposed to have all the time. And until I've learned that, like you said, things go a lot easier when and you just got to accept it. Like sometimes good stuff happens. It's not all bad. It's good because that's where you're supposed to be in life. And when you're going against the grain, swimming upstream, you end up you're getting yourself like literally knocked in the head because you're not even supposed to be doing that. And then as far as like fight or flight, that's there's also a third one. The third one is just sit there in a damn daze and be frozen by fear because and you don't end up not moving until something puts some fire under your ass to make you move.
yeah, and it shouldn't have to get to that. And
Right.
that stuff is hard. Sometimes the people like, oh well, work smarter, not harder, because we're off that tail end generation that say, oh, the harder you work, the better off it'll be, and just work harder, work hard, work hard. But not everything has to be hard. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be difficult. You got to some. We've been equipped with this inner voice, this inner feeling that can tell us where to go, how to get there, to go left or right, and we have to trust in that. We have to have faith in that, and not sit up here and deny it and disconnect from it because it makes zero sense. Why are you even equipped with it if you're going to just use it for well, you don't even use it. You just like cover it up and then just cover it up and cement over it with bullshit. It's a waste.
Right.
It's a freaking waste.
Exactly. Yeah, and then and waiting on the other shoe to drop is not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's just going to just postpone the inevitable, which is you finding out one way or another whether the move you made is wrong. But life is too short to have regrets on things, on something like that, on not trying something from fear. And
Exactly.
it's a fun. It's funny, man. I just you made me remember like when me and my brother and my cousin, who's we're all kind of the same age, and when we were children, we would um we would dig a hole every morning. We would get up like we were going to work, all three of us, and just go to the front yard and dig a hole with Tonka trucks and shovels, whatever we could find to dig this hole with. We don't know why we were digging the hole, but just for when you say that, it makes me think about how you can be working hard and literally not going nowhere if you're going down the wrong path that you're not supposed to be on. You're just spinning your wheels and I think that that voice inside of your head, that intuition, that force is going to let you know when you're doing the wrong thing, and you should be grateful for that, because a lot of people don't get that opportunity to make adjustments and turn around, and then that comes back to self-care, like, what we've been on, like, you have to try to make sure your vessel is clean. You have to try to make sure that's where, well, healthy eating, like nutritious foods, greens. I forgot where I read it, but your brain, they said your food, your blood goes through your vein and stay through your brain and stays there longer than most parts of your body. So it's important to try to have your vessel clean so you can even pick up on this intuition and stuff like that. Meditation, all this stuff that we're talking about now these days is, a lot of ancient practices, but it's one move can be crucial. One wrong move can be really crucial. It could take you down a path. You could have some kids that you're not supposed to have. Now you're stuck for 18 years. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
a, a lot of different stuff you could go through in life, that one bad mistake because you didn't listen, or you didn't take the time to do the work to sit down and even figure out what path you're supposed to be on. You're just rushing through life. And the faster you rush, the more you're going to have the opportunity to bump your head or trip and fall. And, it's not always easy to get back up when you fall down, depending on how drastic the fall or how far the fall was.
Yeah, or who you fall around, because sometimes that we had that episode talking about finding your tribe. Sometimes if you fall and you got the wrong people around you, man, you can't even scrape
Some,
yourself off the pavement fast enough, because it's sometimes some of them may even walk over you. You may have some shoe
yeah,
prints over your damn back of your
listen,
damn shirt.
you're gonna have some that just stand there and point and laugh. Then you're
Yeah.
gonna you're gonna have some that come to your girl like, "Hey, you see that? I would never fall like that, baby."
Oh
This
man,
guy.
I would talk about taking somebody out.
so,
Yeah,
so
opportunists and
yeah,
stuff like that.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then those are some of the people that again wait on the other shoe to drop. They're out there waiting on you to fail. But when you work with somebody and you listen to us, listen to whoever your therapist, the people that are dialed in, hey, failure ain't bad, and it shouldn't be something that people make fun of you with. It's just a grand opportunity to learn something. It's a grand
Exactly.
opportunity to learn something new subject matter, learn about yourself, learn about how you process information, or learn about study habits, anything, whether it's in school or anything. And it's not the end of the world. And if you got people that's going to hang it over your head and lord that over you because you failed something, then you don't need those people around. You
And
know,
that's a segue to the last show. Find your tribe. That's why that's important.
yep. And that goes with girlfriends, husbands, wives, boyfriends, whatever. Even certain family members are, they're in your tribe. Some of them don't need to be.
It's true.
Or maybe some of them they lose their mind and they step out, or they get pushed out, and they have to earn their way back in because you're worth it, not because you want to make it hard for them, but the tribe, the inner circle you have is golden. And you got to watch out for people that wait for the other shoe to drop. Maybe you can have an impact on them, maybe you can kind of switch them around or something, but you need to work on yourself first
Right.
and feel and realize when you get caught up in it. Now, I don't mean that in a sense of saying that you don't anticipate somebody that's screwed up already, or somebody has a tendency of doing things or stealing shit from you or messing your stuff up or anything like that, that you should wait for them to do it. Do it. You shouldn't keep your eyes open for them to display this behavior again. That's not necessarily waiting on the other shoe to drop. It's just that sometimes some people or certain situations have to prove themselves, in a different way. Yeah. So work for ourselves. When I trained to be a life coach, they taught lessons that says first for you, then for others. And I've always taken that with me because I used to do for others and neglect self. And to me, that's sinning in a way, because you are the focal point of your world. And if the focal point is off kilter, then everything else is going to reflect that in your world. I, like you, how we always talk about it, learned that the hard way, and I'm still going through that. I'm still making sure that I'm good. I'm still making sure that I need to do what I need to do to make sure that I'm okay. And it's not being selfish. I mean, I'm pretty sure my wife wouldn't want to deal with me if I was always off kilter. My sons, my mom, whoever. So we got to make sure that we're not the people that are sitting back with our arms folded, with a scowl on our face, looking like the bulldog from Georgetown Hoyas
Yes.
all the time, waiting for the other shoe to drop. That doesn't mean like it's a yin and a yang with this. Watch out for the BS, but always make sure that you expect to win and expect the good stuff. Learn from your
And that's a
failure.
and that's a great point. And just to add a little value to that, when you were waiting for the other shoe to drop and you're that kind of person, back to finding your tribe, you're going to attract those other kind of people who are also waiting on the other shoe to drop. And that's why it's important, like you said, to put yourself first and do that work first. And that way you're not attracting that kind of energy to yourself.
There you go. There you go. I think it's a good one. I can't wait to hear what people have to say about this when we talk to folks. So you guys out there that's listening, that's always giving us feedback and letting us know how we touch you. Again, as I said before, we always appreciate that because it makes me feel good on the inside that somebody is maybe making their 1 degree turn of change that's going to be lead to other positive outcomes for them. Yeah, it just makes it's like fulfilling for me to experience that, and I always thank people for sharing that with me because they don't have to, but they choose to. And when someone chooses to share something from inside their minds with me, that's huge. That's giving. That's given to me, and I accept that stuff graciously. So we are now on YouTube. If you guys want to check us out on there, you can click on YouTube, look us up on the Gifted and Insane, and we will pop up on YouTube. Make sure you like, follow, and or subscribe there. And of course, you can hear us for now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. So that's all I got, Jib. If you got something else for the folks, just go ahead and let them know, and we will wrap this up here.
Just would like to just ditto everything you just said. That's it. Peace
All
out
right.
on my part.
All right, cool. Cool. All right, everybody. Again, you hit us up, giftedandinsane@gmail.com. Or those of you who have contact with us directly, you guys know our personal numbers and all that stuff, or our email addresses. Just hit us up. Let us know. If you want, we'll read your replies on one of our episodes. You can remain anonymous. Just let us know. If not, we will do first name and last initials. We don't give the whole government out. Or if you got some nickname you want to go by, and if you don't have one, we can supply you with one of those. I'm good at doing that, by the way. Yeah, so we're going to sign off. Thank you for listening. This is The Gifted and Insane. We will be back again, of course, with another episode. So until then, you guys enjoy. Take care. Be safe. Peace. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Gifted and Insane featuring Marzette and Jabri. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening. You guys have a great day. Peace.